did you have any feelings of like trepidation before you were trying to hike it? Was this one of your more extreme, like
extreme adventures?
Or yeah?
No, the way I did it, you're basically hiking up through an area called Solo Khumbu, which is the traditional area of the Sherpa people, and you're basically hiking from village to village, or ultimately tea house to tea house. And a tea house is basically a Sherpa home where they have some space for trekkers that roll out their sleeping bags, and they're cooking tea and often boiled potatoes and things like that. So the whole hike, it was non-technical. It was just like backpacking. And, you know, the thing you do have to be worried about, though, is elevation. You don't want to get altitude sickness. So what you try to do is you hike high during the day, and then you sleep lower. So day to day, you're only gaining about 1,500 feet of elevation. So besides the altitude, there really weren't too many risks. I mean, they're the typical risks of hiking out in the wilderness and getting hurt, but it wasn't like I was wearing, you know, crampons or roping up or doing rock climbing. It was pretty much just hiking boots and a pack. So it's pretty non-technical, not so dangerous.
And was this something that you did alone, or did you go with a group of friends?
I did it alone, but in that area, there were a fair number of other hikers. So, you know, there are parts of days where there may not be anyone, you know, a mile in either direction on the trail, but usually in the evening I get into one of the villages and there'd be other people, you know, other Europeans and Americans who are doing the same thing, and so you'd sort of hang out at night. And then on the trail during the day there were other people around, but no, I was going up there solo. Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, it was great. I think that the best part was the very last day. I got up to about 17,000 feet, probably about a 4-hour hike from the Everest base camp. And if you go right to the base camp, you have to cross a glacier. What I did, it's very hard to sleep when you're at that elevation at 17,000 feet. And I woke up, I think, around 3 in the morning, and other people were sleeping in the little tea house. And I just started hiking and got up and climbed this little mountain overlooking the Everest base camp and looking straight across at Mount Everest. And there was virtually no one else around. I was totally alone. It felt like it was just me and Mount Everest and all these spectacular mountains in all directions. People hadn't started hiking up from that tea house yet that day. I was looking at the Everest base camp. There was a tent down there. I think someone told me it was some Sherpas waiting for a Japanese winter expedition. I was up there, I think, in November, and that would have been 1983. But that last day when I got up high, and the trails just all end there. It's not like you can keep on hiking. I was pretty much up there alone, and it was spectacular. I also had a splitting headache from the elevation gain when I hiked up this little mountain, but I was up there alone, and it was totally gorgeous.
Awesome.